Hello and welcome to Africa Event Connect, where we explore the ideas and the people shaping the future of the events industry. I'm your host, Prajani Patha, and today I'm pleased to be joined by a powerhouse in the marketing space, Dale Heerfer, CEO of the Nedbank IMC conference. Now, under her leadership, the IMC has grown into South Africa's most influential marketing event. So, Dale, it's an absolute pleasure to have
Thank
you
you,
here.
Prashni. It's great to see you again, and it's lovely to be here. Thanks for having me.
I know. It feels like a bit of a time warp, right?
Yeah, exactly. With COVID and what have you, it's all been a strange time, but it's nice to be back.
Completely. Now, you have totally inspired me. You truly, truly inspired me, I must say, looking at your journey. But I'd love for you to share that with our audience. So could you tell us briefly your journey and what led you to the IMC conference?
Okay. Yeah. So my background is advertising and marketing. I started and ran an advertising agency called Chili Bush for many years.
Yes, of course.
Yes, which happily did very well. And then in 2014, I just thought I can't do this anymore. This is crazy hectic, and so I sold it. And then I potted around for a long time, not knowing what to do, but still
Yes.
loving the industry, so keen to keep in the industry. I did a few odds and ends. I obviously spent a lot of time with my children. I wrote a book. I started a charity, and I tried to start another agency, but my heart wasn't in it. And then the opportunity to actually buy the IMC conference came about.
Okay.
So that was in 2018. The IMC conference had been going since 2010, started by a fantastic young man in Cape Town.
Mm-hmm.
But he had other interests, and I think he'd lost a bit of his mojo for the conference.
Right.
And I thought, that's brilliant. So I acquired it and set about to make that my next mission. And it's turned out to be fantastic. So that was in 2018.
Wow. No, you truly have set that out to be your mission. But you have such a creative spirit, and I want to dabble a little bit about that as well, because I always say to my team that I'm working with, you can, whether you're in operations or sales or marketing, finance, having that creative spirit on the side really helps you to focus and do better. And your art, I mean, not a lot of people know that you're an artist, right?
Thank you. Yes.
And a writer.
Yes.
So that creative energy truly runs through you. So what you're doing today makes so much sense.
Yes. No, well, it's worked out perfectly for me because I've never actually thought of myself as a creative person.
Yeah.
I started the agency because I always wanted to have a business. It wasn't necessarily about being in a creative field. And I got a job at an ad agency, and I thought, oh, how difficult could this be, stupidly? And so I decided to start my own agency after that. So I was always more on the suit side. I'm not sure if they use that terminology, studio and suit.
Yes.
So I was more a suit. So I happily had the best of both sides. If I wanted to dabble in creativity, I could. But my main passion was around business management and organization and more admin. So I've been lucky to have the balance, actually.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes it a perfect fit
Yes.
for IMC.
Yes.
Right? Because that has a lot of creative energy running through it.
Well, absolutely. So, in fact, it is an exact example of a combination because our theme this year is marketing is business. So, and the way that came about is when I bought this conference in 2018, I did so together with two partners, two men, both top businessmen. They're both CAs, I think. And I realized pretty quickly that they had a strange sense of marketing. They didn't take it seriously. They thought of marketing as a golf day or and I kept on saying to them, guys, marketing is business. Marketing is business. And that kind of stuck. And so I trademarked it. And now that kind of underpins everything we do. Marketing is business. It's about creativity, but there's a strong business component to it.
Absolutely.
And that has to be stuck to. And we've always had a strong theme with the conference each year, a different theme. And this year I decided to make that actually our conference theme. So it's all about the combination of business with creativity and all the other components to make sure the marketing works.
And I'm sure all your delegates that attend love it because marketers generally struggle to convey to the rest of the organization how important it is in terms of driving business for the organization.
Well,
right?
Absolutely. Marketing sits at the heart of any business. There's no getting away from it. And we are a powerhouse of spend. The industry is responsible for billions of rand spend.
Yeah.
And the marketers have the power to sway national sentiment, and we really are powerful, and we seem to have a bit of an inferiority complex. So I have always been fighting for marketing's place at the boardroom table. We deserve our seat at the boardroom table.
Yes.
And that is one of the strong messages of the conference. We are a C-suite industry,
yes,
and we need to be there, and we need to be measurable. We need to be appreciated, but we need to take responsibility too for our role in growing any business.
Absolutely. Now, just go back to the conference. For those of those people that haven't heard of IMC yet, that would be rather strange. But if you didn't, no hard feelings here. You're going to love this, I think. Our audiences are going to absolutely love it. You have to go to the IMC conference. If you're a marketer, if you're in the event space as well, because I always believe that anybody in the event space has to understand the dynamics of marketing, because we need to be able to attract the right people to our events. Now, just tell us about the details. It happens once a year?
Yeah, first off, hats off to people in the events industry. I was never an events person, and now that I run a big one, respect. So it happens once a year. I decided, as I was saying to you earlier, I decided to do if I were to attend a marketing function, how I would like it to be. So it's one day annually. It's always in Joburg, and it's a very short, hard-hitting agenda.
Wonderful.
It starts strictly at 8, wraps up at 4:30, and I am committed to time.
Brilliant.
And I am also committed to no sales pitches. That's one of the secrets. I say we are not having 45-minute death by PowerPoint presentations up there. I don't, as a rule, allow sponsors to have a speaking slot. That's not a given.
Yep.
So it's hard hitting. I always like to have a good MC. I think that's essential for any event. So Donovan Goliath's actually been this will be his third year, and he makes it a lot of fun. We keep the presentation short. We have nice breaks, and I mix it up. So I might have one 20-minute presentation, then one 5-minute presentation with lots of odds and ends happening. And my challenge is to always make the agenda relevant to anyone in the audience, whether they're the CMO or whether they're a final year marketing student. So that is my challenge with the agenda and the speakers, but I think we have reached that. So,
and having established itself as really influential marketing event in the country, do you think that is the reason why people keep coming back every year, because of the dynamics and of how you maneuver that program?
I like to think so, but I would say there's a couple of reasons for that. The first is that I drive it hard from the top down in terms of our CMO marketers who come. We talk hard to the CMOs, but for the last 7 years since we launched, I've also been pushing very hard to students, to final year marketing students.
Oh, wonderful.
So we've got this push-pull kind of effect where, and I'm also very pro collaboration. So I talk to all the industry associations, the Marketing Association of South Africa, the ACA, the Direct Marketing Association, ARB. I get their involvement. The Luries, Pritesh and I are always in discussion about, I get his advice a lot. And so they always like to come, and it's become a bit of an industry gathering. It's neutral. So there's, it's so funny, Virginia. And if ever another marketing event comes up in the industry, I always want to go. I always want to contact them and say, come, let's talk. And this one that started up fairly recently, and I applied, and they said, no, you can't come. They blocked me from coming.
Oh, dear.
Yes, and that's the approach that I decided never to have with the IMC. We're all about collaboration, and now we're also starting to stretch into Africa substantially. So there's a lot of Africa exposure, which is important, and also government. We've got a lot of government participation. The Minister of Communications was meant to be opening in person. Sadly, he can't be there. The last minute, he will be sharing a message.
Oh, wonderful.
So, we just try and keep it relevant to anyone in marketing, and keep it open and interesting and, relevant. I think that's how I think that's how it's continued to grow.
Wonderful. And, as an event person, my head is buzzing already, because I can already see all the arms and legs of the growth here.
Yes, no, it's crazy. Well,
there's so many opportunities, like you said, and with Africa starting to grow so much, and the demand and the collaboration between the African countries, you know,
Yes.
and where we want to get Africa to by 2030 and 2050. It's, you know, it's about working together and that knowledge sharing as well. So I think there's so many opportunities
Well,
there.
I think
right?
that's 100% right. And one case in point is the Institute of Marketing in Malawi.
Yeah.
So they're sending 17 people in person. And as a result of our collaboration, I've now organized speakers to go and speak at their conference in October.
Wonderful.
And people to judge their awards.
Yes.
So it's all once the contact has
There you
started,
go.
it grows.
It definitely does.
And
Wow.
we've got Zimbabwe. In fact, my colleague was doing some calculations, and we've got delegates through the hybrid approach from 17 different countries attending. So that's very exciting for us. We've even got our first delegate from Singapore this year.
Amazing.
Yes.
Oh, well done to you.
Thank
well
you.
Done to you.
Thank you.
Well, next question would be like entering 2025, like there's so much uncertainty in terms of the number of tools. There's more tools,
Yes,
there's
it's
more
crazy.
noise than ever, right? But what's the biggest single shift you believe that we need to prepare for as marketers?
Yes. It's so automatically people would generally say AI.
Yeah.
But to my mind, AI has been bubbling under now for years. So that's a given. We've
Yeah.
all got to be aware of AI. The area that I think is critical is the youth. That is something that we focus on very heavily at the IMC. In fact, we've given away we will have given away 14 bursaries. We've got a panel this year with Kinsani Nobanda, who she's going to be hosting it with top leaders from the various universities. And we have a lot of students attending. That's part of my initiative. And we focus on them a lot because they are so important. So the youth is one thing. The other thing that I think is really important is video. They say that video is the new language of B2B.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing one thing where we've got a team, which is a video team, an influencer, and
Right.
someone, Bridget Harper, who's the head of marketing at VW. She's going to play the role of the client.
Right.
And as we open the conference, they're going to be given a brief. They haven't seen it before. And they've got the day to put a video together.
Uh-huh.
And then they're sitting on a panel in the afternoon. They're going to show the video and discuss it. So we try and do different things like that.
It's very
that-
inspiring.
Yeah, that tap into the current trends. And video is a big one. Video, youth, AI, and always creativity. You know, that's another one that is a given. It's a low boil
Yeah.
of interest. And the thing with creativity this year is we're looking at, because people are basically paying to not see our ads. So how do we get around that?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of our speakers, that's literally his focus. Malusi is going to be talking about how do we get around the fact that people are paying not to see our ads.
That is true.
Yeah. So there's creativity, AI, youth, video. Those are some of the key things that are key at the moment.
Now, I'm sure there's lots of things that excites you about the program. I mean, so the IMC conference is happening next week, and
Yes.
the dates are the 18th,
The 18th of September.
right? At
It's at it's obviously virtual from wherever you are because we are hybrid. And then in person is at the Mosaic in Fairlands, which is west. This was the best kept secret, this venue.
it is a beautiful venue.
Yes, it's fantastic. So we'll have about 1,500 people in person and about 1,500 virtually. So we're looking for about 3,000 in total delegates.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Wonderful.
yes.
Now, I'm sure there's lots, and probably the whole program excites you tremendously.
It does.
But if you were to pull out a few highlights of the program, what would that be for you?
I think one of the speakers that has been garnering the most enthusiasm is Charles Basil. Now, he's a South African originally, but he is now based in London, and he's the first ever brand custodian at the BBC. And he's coming out to talk. So he's our closing speaker. So he's creating a lot of interest. We also, there's two that I'm really excited for, and they're also part of that unexpected but relevant component.
Right.
And one of them is this amazing man. He's called Welkom Witbooi. Now he's from the Cape.
Yes.
He was in prison. He was a gang leader.
Okay.
He was, I think it's the 49ers. And in prison, he was in the hierarchy. He was effectively the CEO of the prison. He had something like 3,000 inmates reporting into him.
Oh, my word. Right.
So then he decided to go clean. He came out. He's done a business degree at Henley. He's now, and he is, the topic I've given him is from Breaking Bad to business grad. And so, so he's going to be talking about unexpected ways of leading.
That is brilliant.
And then the second one that I'm also really excited about is also a motivational one, is a lady called Brigadier Mandisa Mfeka, who's the first black combat pilot, fighter jet pilot in South Africa. In Africa, in fact, and she's going to be giving a 10-minute talk on how to, it's a bit corny, but how to deal under pressure. You literally.
Yes.
You get it.
High pressure.
Yes, exactly. So those are just two of the unexpected voices. And then in the midst of those, we've got all the top creative thinkers, which I'm also really excited. We've got a lot on data, actually. Data is also quite a big thing this year. We've got Dr. Gillian Hammer, who's coming from Ghana, and she's talking about AI and do we need to be scared of losing our jobs to AI? So she's coming out. We've got Taha Brace coming out, and he's coming from Dubai, and he's talking about putting the magic back into advertising, which I think is also we need.
Yeah.
It's not those old golden days that we all remember so well.
There's a new audience.
There's a new audience. There's a new way of doing business. Procurement, gone are the days. In our day, you could finalize a campaign over a tequila lunch type of thing.
Exactly.
So now it's all about putting the magic back and finding ways to do that.
That is so interesting. Now tell me, what is the process post-event? So, I mean, every year you're reinventing the program. So where do you find your inspiration in terms of deciding what the content is going to be?
Yes. I'm very theme-driven. So each year I'll try and, last year, for example, our theme was being relevant. Marketing's big ask. How do you be relevant? And so that'll help me guide my search in terms of speakers who have done work on that front. So the theme is always a big one. Marketing is business has helped me drive. For example, another speaker I didn't mention just now who I'm super excited about is Jason Quinn. He's the CEO of Nedbank. He's the new CEO of Nedbank. When people say, how did you get Jason? I say, well, luckily we partner with Nedbank, so it works out. And his topic is what every CEO wants to know about marketing but is too afraid to ask. So that the topic of marketing as business drove me to ask him to participate. So we then start casting around, and there's lots of ways we do that. For example, we'll go to all the awards. The Loeries is a big one. Who's winning at the Loeries, whether it's on the client service side or the creative side. Other associations, which agencies are doing well, which people are making a noise, and we see if we can, if they're relevant. And then happily we've now got to the stage where we run a waiting list of speakers, which has been very helpful. People always surprise me. They'll send a mail saying, "Oh, our MD would like to speak." So I say, "Okay, we're running a waiting list for 2026. Send your creds, and we'll consider it."
Yes.
So and we always try and get a good component from globally. This year we've got 6 global speakers.
Wow.
So
Now, I mean, you took over in 2018, right?
Yes, our launch was in 2019.
And then smack bang in between, you had COVID, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well. Yes.
Now, but despite all of that, your event has not just survived, but it's grown, right? And what do you think you've done differently that others haven't, that allowed it to grow at this rate?
Yes. Funny enough, in 2019, I think a big part, I haven't mentioned Nedbank as our naming sponsor.
Of course,
yes. And they're fantastic. When I first acquired the conference and I had a vision for it, I went to Nedbank, and Kinsani, who's their CMO, had the same vision of launching this event. And at that stage, and you'll laugh at this because it seems like a different lifetime ago, we had this big innovation where we were going to stream the conference live on Facebook. Can you believe it? It was cutting edge. This is 2019. So we did it, and because we wanted the youngsters who couldn't afford to be there to see it. So that kind of kicked it off, and it really went well. And so Nedbank extended their contract, and we set it up for 2020, and then of course COVID hit. Bam! So we were kind of forced to take it mainline virtual, and I decided to do it properly. Like all of us, I think we were all in a jam, but I decided if I'm going to take this thing virtually, I'm going to do it properly. So I took money on my bond and I invested, and we were one of the first companies to do a conference with a green screen, we had a speaker in London, and
Yes.
he was meant to be coming out, and he actually had to rig up a green curtain in his barn in order to. I look back at that first one now, and you see people already like freezing and shaking. But I think that's one of the things that has happily kept us current. As I've always tried to keep up with the trends, I do it properly. The devil is in the detail, as you know, in this industry. So attention to detail. I spend a lot of time on the agenda. My colleagues hate it because I'm obsessed. I allocate it to the minute, how we break it down, and we always have backup speakers in case someone doesn't pitch, and we try and balance it out to give everyone a voice in the industry. And I think that's kind of worked. We now have more CMOs and senior marketers attending than any other conference, and I think it's become a good networking opportunity too for rubbing shoulders.
Definitely. Now, what advice would you give to organizers who want to build an event with longevity?
Yes.
Because very often people just think about, how do I get through this year? I just need to do this, and then it's done.
Yes.
But you can't think like that if you want to build something, right?
Yes. I suppose I'm fortunate that I'm an owner of the business, and I'm very hands-on. So I think if it is your own business and you can be hands-on and you can manage it closely yourself, then that's fantastic. So I think keeping an eye on the detail as much as you can is fantastic. Also, try and grow with your marketplace. So, for example, as I mentioned, government, we've seen the need now to expand into government.
Yeah.
And so we're slowly doing that. It's not easy, but we're slowly going into that space. So we're trying to keep current there. And also looking at innovative ways of bringing always look at how you're going to keep your delegates entertained.
Yes.
You want to be entertaining without being frivolous.
Yes.
So you want to be entertaining, but relevant.
Okay.
And we spend a lot of time with that. Even our sponsors, we ask them to stick to the theme and to come up with an activation that's relevant to the theme. So there's always that sense of wholeness about it, and people wait with anticipation, waiting to see what's going to happen this year. And we do it properly.
Yeah.
I think that might be the.
I heard something a while back about, we always talk about return on investment, and marketing is key to return on investment, right? And we're always measuring return on investment on every single activity that we do. But when you talk about delegates in a room, as well, that you're bringing into an event or an exhibition or conference, it is what do they get on their return on time invested.
That's it, exactly.
And that's what you're talking about now in terms of balancing the frivolity and the content,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Allowing the experience to be engaged.
Yes, I'm very aware of them giving up their time, and I want to make sure they get a good show for it. And I'm grateful to Nedbank again for their naming sponsorship, which enables us to do things like pay for flights for some of the international speakers.
Yes.
And then also the sponsors. I don't know if you still see it sometimes, where you have that breakdown of sponsorships where there's a box, and then you have what you get with this. One press release, one ticket, this. No, we don't do that at all.
Yeah.
We sit down with our sponsors or interested sponsors, and we say, okay, now what can we do? What are you wanting to achieve?
Yes.
Is it really going to be, is it what you are? We've said to some guys, it's not right. It's not right for you. So you've got to sit with your sponsors and make sure it's relevant for them, and then try and give them as much value as we're very into measuring. Mm-hmm. We measure all exposure we get using Ornico, who's one of our partners. So if there's an article, hopefully they'll pick up this very podcast and put a monetary value to it, so we can justify our existence to our sponsors and our partners, and it all helps for taking it forward.
Absolutely.
Creating the groundswell.
Now, some people say that conferences are becoming a bit outdated because we're living in a digital age, right? But like I said earlier, you still continue to sell out.
Yes.
And draw global attention, like you've mentioned to us now. And you're doing this all in a hybrid event, right?
Yes.
Do you think hybrid events still matter, or should we be just swaying to conference only or digital only? I mean, I know how complex hybrid can be, and I can only imagine the detail that goes in behind that to get it, like you said, you wanted to get it right, 100%.
Yes.
So how do you make sure that IMC works seamlessly as a hybrid event and balancing all those variables?
Yes. We work very hard with our partners, our AV guys, our online Event Mobi. We use Event Mobi.
Yes.
And it's about attention to detail. And then we make sure that the online event has its own activations. For example, Nando's is a big partner of ours, and there's always a leaderboard. It's marketing with a bit of peri-peri on the side. So there's always a leaderboard going on, so we keep them interested. We have chats, we have activations. We always include them in the space as much as we can. So my experience actually is, I must say, when we got into the heart of COVID and we were doing them only virtually, I selfishly quite liked it. You didn't have to deal with catering, you didn't have to venues, one studio. It was actually quite nice. And I mean, I'm quite glad that my sponsor said no, they want to start going back to person. Otherwise, I'd probably still be, and it wouldn't have worked.
Yes.
There's definitely been a trend for people wanting to be in person, and we've noticed how the numbers, the amount of paying delegates virtually has decreased. But
what is the ratio for you currently?
in terms of actual attending delegates virtually and in person, it's about the same. But paying delegates virtual online has reduced to probably about a third of in person. But I still love it. I'm prepared to pay for it because it enables us to send students in. We have 400 students coming this year, and they can now join the conference virtually without having to, take a day and pay for all the costs to be there. And I also love it as a marketing tool. I give complimentary virtual tickets, and I'm building my database that way. So I'm finding, in addition to it giving us a global reach, it does also enable us to grow our database, which is critical, and also reach places like Singapore and Malawi and Australia and those kind of places.
What is your biggest learning from running a hybrid event? What would that takeaway would be there for you?
Gosh, it is. It's again about the devil's in the detail. It's make sure that you've checked the technicalities of it. Our 1 year there was a problem with the stream. There was literally a problem with buffering. So you can just imagine the horror.
Sure.
The speakers were saying something, but the stream was only going out 5 minutes later. So there it's about the devil's in the detail, making sure that the technical stuff is all ticked off, that people can chat online, and that the systems are marrying up. And that's the same branding for both. It's the same agenda for both, but you're doing different activations for the online people versus the in-person
So
people.
don't neglect the online audience.
Absolutely,
Because sometimes we get so entrenched in this, like, we at the physical event, and where are we taking them, and what are we feeding them, and what does it look like?
Exactly.
But it's also walking through that customer journey online as well, right?
That's quite right. And what we do, for example, is, again, in keeping with our determination to be a neutral platform and partner with the other associations, is each year we stream the Effie. I don't know if you know the Effie Awards, the Marketing Effectiveness Awards. It's a big global awards that happens. It's driven by the ACA here, and each year we stream during the breaks. We stream their finalist videos and
wonderful.
Winners. So, it's a case of finding interesting things for your online audience, because they're going to be sitting around waiting for it to start. So
That's very clever.
It's a case of finding ways to keep them interested.
Yeah. Now, let's go back to the content. You were talking about the content. And I mean, I love the content that's coming up this year, and I'm sure every year is as interesting. But how do you manage to keep it fresh and globally aligned as well? Finding the right themes, finding the right speakers we spoke about, year after year. But how do you make sure that you're getting the topics that cut through the noise, that is going to be relevant and help us make sound business decisions? Because sometimes something might seem quite simple to us, but it might be groundbreaking for somebody else.
Yes. I think, we wouldn't be worth our salt if we weren't researching the international trends and aligning to them as much as we can.
Yes.
And surprisingly, they aren't that different. With the digital world, the trends overseas aren't that different to the trends in Africa.
That's nice to know.
It's pretty much a similar mindset. As I said just now, AI is a big one. Video. So it's just a case of us doing our research, doing our homework, and then also seeing which companies globally are making waves.
Okay.
Yeah, which companies are in our one of our first virtual conference, we managed to get the global CMO of Nike to present. I mean, that's another reason I quite like
Wow.
virtual, because you would pay a virtual fee for them to speak,
Yes.
and you didn't have to pay the business class ticket and the
accommodation,
the game trip that they all. So it's a case of identifying which companies are doing great things globally, tapping into what they're doing to be great, and using those as benchmarks, and also locally finding people here who've got global experience. We find a lot of agencies here are doing global work.
Oh, I see.
And then tapping into that too. So it's just, but then also making allowances for our African market. And we always try and talk about the African market and how to reach it, and how to speak to it, and how to make sure you are doing the best marketing you can within Africa.
Yeah, because I was about to ask, how do you balance that international
Yes.
and local and homegrown,
Yes, yes.
How do you get that going? And because you don't want it to be skewed either, because like you're saying, we've got great content and we've got great
Yes.
people here.
Yes. Yes, no, we always, and in fact, we're very respected globally. Our South African market is very respected globally.
Wonderful.
As would have been seen in Cannes lately. We had the whole market upped and went to Cannes recently for all the Cannes Awards.
Yes.
And there was a big South African presence, in fact, African presence.
That's
And so
wonderful.
we also tap into those sort of things and see what's happening over there, partnering with the likes of the ACA and MASA and the Creative Circle and those sort of bodies who are very involved also gives us good insight into what's happening globally. So we really try and tap into what's what, who's who.
Yes. I like what you're saying as well, because in terms of, as an organizer, I think it is imperative, like you're saying, the research. It's very easy to go to what's nearest.
Yes.
Or, or who you see most in the space.
Yes.
But it's about digging a bit deeper,
Yes.
right? And understanding the audience. So that I love that. I think a lot of organizations fail to do that or get complacent,
Right.
and bring the same speakers back year on year as
Yes,
well.
yes.
And again, I mean, we also have this where we're very often international speakers are used as a pull card to an event, only for you to get there and realize that they're actually not physically there.
Oh, yeah. Gosh. Oh, yes. No. That happened to me a couple of weeks ago. And if I'd known, I wouldn't have come.
Yeah.
Yes. And in fact, last year we did that. We had two speakers who joined us because they couldn't. One of them was Faith Popcorn. I don't even remember Faith Popcorn.
Yes. Oh, my word.
Yeah, she's 80 now, so
Wow.
but she's the one who came up with the term cocooning, and she's a futurist, and I was so excited to have her. I thought I'd make an exception, and she was good in the end, but yeah, there was that where her face is up and she's going, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" And there's 800 people sitting there going, "Yeah, we can hear you." So no, I do avoid that. I do avoid that now. And we really will only be having people in person.
That's great.
That ship has sailed. That ship has sailed.
That's wonderful to know. So we talked about how you were driving participation online to make sure that our online audience is entertained and feel included.
Yes.
But at the event itself, how do you get people to lean in rather than just sit back and watch and be on their computers? That's also a challenge
Yes.
for conferences.
Yeah, that blimmin' terror of looking when someone's speaking and look at the audience and see how many people are. You can gauge how good a speaker is immediately
Yes.
by how many people are on their phones. I think that's what I try and do with the agenda. And it's so interesting because when I have the surveys, you can never really please everyone. Some people say your presentations are too short. Some say they're too long.
Yeah.
So I found the sweet spot is 15 minutes.
Okay.
The sweet spot for my presentation, for speaker presentations, is 15 minutes. If there's a top draw international speaker, then I might extend it to 20.
Right.
But by keeping the agenda short and sharp, I find that works very well. And another little trick that I started doing since I came in person again after COVID is I always have a musician working with the MC.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. So last year we had a marimba band. The year before that we had guys on the drums. And this year we've got a DJ Tony.
Nice.
And then each speaker gets their own, our MC will interact with the DJ and say, come on, give it up for, Dr. Homer who's come from Ghana. You know. And so that also just keeps it busy.
Yes.
We also... We have lots of activations. In fact, I always need to be careful because the lunch breaks and the tea breaks are short.
Okay.
But there's lots going on during the breaks. So I don't want to oversell to my sponsors the activations outside. So I'm very cautious about them over-engineering something for a short break.
This is what I wanted to ask, actually. So that's great. I mean, that the music, adding that variety. Because
yes, and a marimba band as people register. That's
sensory experience. So you're tapping into the senses, right? And the activations outside. But in terms of your speaker brief,
right?
Because we know that speakers can get carried away.
Yes.
Right. How do you manage that and keep them in tow?
Ooh, we do lots of speaker communications. We when we approach them up front, we tell them the time that they would be allocated, the theme. We encourage them. Well, we say no sales pitches.
Yes.
And then on the day itself, we literally have a countdown clock. So once they start talking,
yes,
and we are brutal with that, and so far it's worked. And in fact, one of our speakers is Vaughan Creaser this year. He's the head of marketing at SAB. And he has been fantastic because I thought, wow, I've done something right. The other day he sent me a mail saying, Dale, can I have 1 more minute? And I thought, yeah, baby, if that's how the speakers are thinking, we're on the right track.
That's brilliant. So you changed the program to
then I literally
9:18.
I literally do that. If you go and look at our agenda online, it's 8:10 to 8 whatever, 3 minutes for crowd to come in.
Brilliant.
And there's things you can't manage if, for example, a speaker doesn't arrive for whatever reason.
Yes.
You have to move and shake and make a plan. But as much as we can, we'll try and set everything as close as possible.
Now, let's go back to the sponsors. I mean, and we know sponsors are key to our events, right? It really, really helps to have strong partnerships. And we've seen how sponsors can just become part of the DNA of the event, right? How do you secure your sponsors' buy-in year after year to ensure that they keep coming back and they speak the same language? You know?
Well, our naming sponsor, Nedbank, is happily they are part of they've been with us since the beginning. And they're fantastic. The downside of that means we aren't allowed any other financial services sponsors.
Okay.
But that's absolutely fine. We work with that. Other sponsors, they get into the groove of what they do each year. For example, Meltwater does our white paper every year.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so they know what they're getting, and working with us, we think, well, this year, let's do a video introduction of your white paper. You as the CMO, you can have a video link on the introduction, and we'll get our partners at Red and Yellow, the academics, to write it. So they're getting some exposure. So we really look at how we can marry partners with each other, which I think is what it's all really about. And we also have trade exchange partners, which really enables us to do different things that we couldn't afford to normally.
Yes. So it does help with the bottom line as well.
Yeah, no, trade exchange partners are very helpful to us, and particularly marketing trade exchange like Ornico, Everlytic, who do our mailers, the Rather Chat team who does our WhatsApps, Algorithm who does our YouTube. So those guys really help. And then media partners. We've just finalized a broadcast partnership with the SABC.
Oh, wonderful.
So they're giving us a lot of value in return for branding and attendance. Yeah. So our media partners are critical. This year we've got 4 influencers, podcasters, who will actually be conducting interviews from the venue. SAFM will be doing a live broadcast from the day. So it's crazy. We've got a whole team that rushes around, chipping those speakers from one place to the next. So the sponsors love that kind of level of activity. I think they always love the fact that it's going to be the same format. It's going to be on time. We are obsessive about organization, and
Yes.
we're obsessive about the branding leading up to it and how their brand is shown on our collateral and what they
Wonderful.
get and the tickets. And so I think they once they've worked with us once or twice, then we like to think that they'll stay. Our only limitation now is having this. We sold out of stands months ago. There's actually just physically no space for anyone. So we need to start thinking about doing, as we talked about before, is doing something, some kind of brand extension. But I'm very possessive about this. Yeah, over the years, I've been kind of inching it out, and I'm very scared to. I have to think very carefully about what that thing is going to be. But there will be something.
There should be.
Watch
there
the
should
space,
be. It deserves it. I mean,
Yes.
It has played such a significant role in the marketing community lives in South Africa. So I think I can only see you taking it higher and higher each time.
Well, after each conference, Kinsani and I say, well, what are we going to do next? So long may that last. It keeps us on our toes.
Absolutely.
And make sure that we have to keep on delivering.
Yeah, I mean, it's a marketing playground, and we just need to make it grow.
But these marketers aren't easy, hey? Yeah.
I can't see that being simple.
We're a tough crowd.
Attention to detail. Thank goodness that is one of your bugbears. So you are on point there.
Obsessive.
Obsessive. So Dale, lastly, we talk about having long-term relevance, right? And we want the events, like you're saying, to go on for years.
Yes.
And there's some events that just disappear overnight, sadly.
Yes.
And if the IMC disappeared tomorrow, what gap would it leave here in our South African marketing landscape? Would it be missed?
Yes, I like to think it would, because I think we've become the thought leader. We become the place for. When I started this thing, I wanted it to be the place of white papers, and that's why I did. And there were three things that I determined to do when I launched this thing. The first one was to fight for marketing's place at the boardroom table. That's marketing is business. Mm-hmm. That's our payoff line. The second thing is the youth. And then, God, what was the third thing? It was going to be something so... to be the place of white papers.
Yes.
So to be about knowledge share. And so, it's marketing is business, the youth, and then about knowledge share. We've on our YouTube channel, we've got every single presentation since inception in 2019 that people can just go on and look at. Wow. So there's this repository of content.
Amazing.
Yes, and now in partnership with the SABC, we're also looking at how to disseminate that content a bit more effectively too. So I like to think that if we were no longer around, people would have a massive gap in their diaries, and they would be short of the kind of networking opportunity and the content that they can use again and again and again.
No, you've certainly providing a whole lot of content. I mean, you want people to constantly be learning, and especially in this industry, the game is always changing. It's just so dynamic. Like we're saying, our audience is changing, our landscape is changing.
Yes.
And you're just helping us do our stuff better, be better at what we do. So
it's you got to keep at it, because what would, and people are fickle. There are constantly new things coming up, and you have to be aware of what's going on in the industry and make sure you're on top of all your competitors. And I panic every time there's a new marketing conference. Oh, wait, no, what are they? Why? Why didn't they just come to us? We could have done it together.
Absolutely.
So it's always about just keeping an eye on the market.
Yeah. Well, I have to say thank you so much. I think, speaking to you today has been such a pleasure, because you spoke about two of my passions, and that's marketing.
Yes.
And exhibitions and event management.
Yes.
So those are my two passions, and you tick both the boxes. So it's been such an inspiring
it's just been a lovely chat. Well, I've been doing all the chatting. I suppose that's the point. Thank you.
Our audience wants to learn from you. You've given us a sneak peek into the upcoming marketing trends and all your lessons that you've learned with the IMC, that, us as organizers, project directors, portfolio managers for different events can help us better engage with our audiences and sponsors and keep our events future-proof.
Yes.
And that's what's so important.
And what's encouraging is there's definitely a movement to in-person events again. That is what I have noticed. People love coming in person. There's no getting away from it. It's just the nature of us.
Exactly. It's the nature of us. We
Yes.
are all about touch and feel and taste and smell, and it's a total sensory
Yes,
experience.
yes.
And I think those are the experiences that are longer lasting impacts on
Yes.
your life as well,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, and I think we also have to, we can't forget the networking that these events bring. I'm sure
100%.
your audience is able to network and expand their professional lives, their client portfolios, and in so many ways.
Yes, the feedback we get was, oh yes, I saw them at the Nedbank IMC last year, and I spoke to them, and this came of it, and that came of it, and that fills me with happiness when I hear those sort of stories of networking opportunities concluded.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prajani. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I look forward to being there as well.
There, in person.
In person. So for those people that are watching, just you want to give them some details about where to get tickets, if they're available.
Yes, we're wrapping up sales,
that.
but please go to www.imcconference.com and check it out.
Okay, wonderful.
Everything's on the website.
Everything's on the website. And you've said you've got a YouTube channel as well?
Yes, you can go and look for Nedbank IMC on YouTube. We're growing our listeners, our viewers there, but fantastic content.
Wonderful content, and to be able to watch at your own pace and at your own time. So if they can't make it on the 18th of September.
Yes.
And Dale, if people want to reach out to you personally?
Yes, they can just send a message. All my details are on the website.
Wonderful.
Go and send a contact. I'd be delighted to hear from anyone.
Yep, there might be a potential speaker, delegate,
Always.
sponsor. You never know.
Networking.
Networking. Thank you, Dale.
Thanks, Prajani.
And to everybody that's listening, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and obviously just keep the conversation going and keep the event space future-proof. Until next time, I'm Prajani Patha, and this is Africa Event Connect.